Good morning, Jew.
Good morning. Heather really doesn't like to lie. Heather's very ethical.
It's true. I'm a bad liar. This is Heather Gold. I'm in Oakland for real.
I'm in Katie Halper, and I'm in New York City for real.
You are with your collection of tote bags. I enjoy your liberal tote bag collection.
Oh God, yeah, I'm a big bag lady. It's probably the most Jewish thing about me is my bag lady tendencies.
And this week on Morning Jew, our stories are going to be, first of all, it's Ash Wednesday. We'll get into that in a second. We have a little Pope date, a little update on the Pope, our favorite guy. This is our favorite one, the Mensch one. And our big stories are Michele Bachmann declaring that Jews have abandoned Israel for Obama. The Haredim, the really super ultra-orthodox in Israel, have been protesting in massive numbers because they don't want to be in the military. And Shonda of the week, Ellen Grayson, you'll find out. You really need to hear that. It's a Shonda. And the Oscars, it's Oscar week. It's like the second high holidays. So you'll hear whether or not they're good for the Jews.
It is.
Hey, and I'm still sick, people, from last week.
Did you enjoy my graphics? Those are my graphics and sound effects.
It's low cost animation. This is our life of pi.
Yes.
I want to thank all the people. We're getting a lot of great support for Morning Jew. We're hearing people are really, we're getting a lot of love, which is a lovely thing. If anybody else has the cold and you have some solutions to when you stop feeling so tired, like there's a small family of rocks camping on your head, let me know. Because every day I think, I'm going to have a regular day, and then I just want to sleep. Okay, so that's my Jewish...
Could be a sinus infection.
There's something in there. Listen, what better Jewish opening than here's my health update? How's your health?
If it's a sinus infection, you're going to have to go on antibiotics.
Oh, I hate that.
But don't abuse them, because then you'll be resistant and you'll die of something soon.
Look how many steps.
Not soon, but before you should naturally die.
Look how many steps it took Katie Halper to get to die. Only two. Only two. If you play, do you remember Name That Tune? Name That Tune was a game show when I was a kid where they'd play, you'd say, I'm going to name that tune in 8 notes, and then you try and have fewer notes. We can have a Jewish game show where you have to go from any situation to how it could kill you. And how many steps?
Name that lethal potential.
How could you die? And then you'll figure it out.
Right.
You've already got me potentially dead very quickly. Well done.
It's because I care about you. I don't want you to die.
It's Jewish love, people. This is how it works. You have to learn to interpret that because it's very confusing to grow up with this, where they're busy telling you how you're going to die.
Right. It seems morbid, but it's actually loving.
It is. Also, it's a sort of employment system because it's how we created the DSM and how we become psychiatrists. So you we feed a weird kind of business. All right. So it's Ash Wednesday. Now, I grew up in a pretty Catholic town. I'm guessing it's a Catholic thing, right?
It is. Shalom to all of the people who have put the schmutz on their forehead.
Hi, schmutzers.
I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all. I think I like it. But I have a little funny anecdote to share about the schmutz forehead thing. Not about the schmutz, but about Ash Wednesday, which is that I have a friend who is actually a pizza bagel. She's half Jewish, half Italian. Half Italian, half Jewish is the correct order, actually. And she was raised by 2 secular people, so she didn't know anything about any religions. And she grew up in New York City. She's from the Bronx, and she went to LaGuardia High School, this big high school. And she was going into her English class in high school and said to her teacher, "Oh, you have something on your forehead."
Right.
And it was Ash Wednesday.
No. I don't know. Is it holy schmutz? Are we offensive that we're schmutzing it?
I don't think so. No. If it is, we'll edit this out.
It's not like schmutz from Jesus or something?
No.
Okay. No. Well, maybe the schmutz is like a special thing. Sorry,
guys. Oh, right. They have a collection of schmutz that they dole out. But that would be a lot of schmutz if everyone could wear it every year.
Yeah.
Never-ending schmutz supply. A schmutz miracle.
Never-ending schmutz. The guy who was...
It could be a schmutzicle. A schmutzicle. It's a schmutz miracle.
Who wants
If anyone's going to have magical schmutz, it's going to be Jesus.
It's confusing. When you say schmutzicle, it's close to a fudgicle, and you don't want to eat that.
Oh, no.
You look at what you can't mix the food up.
Oh, my God. We're going to have the Christian equivalent of fatwa on us.
The religious leader was showing us the little bone. Of course, being the Jewish kid, I was like, how do you know it's not just like part of a dog's arm or something?
Right.
And
You're like, that doesn't look like the femur to me.
Well,
That's not the femur I know
I have
from bio books.
absolutely no religious frame of reference to understand what they're talking about. So I don't even
Right.
know that I'm being offensive today. What I just
Right.
like earnestly don't
Right.
understand what they're talking about. And he said, well, I'm sure
Right.
we're all good Christians here. And then I had to put up my little hand. My life growing up was a lot of, I'm not the one, not me. Yeah,
That's funny. It's like
that was fun.
but it's like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? But I told you, I'm not a witch at all. I felt like that when I was in Spain. People would be like, are you Catholic or Protestant? And I was like, but I told you, I'm not a Christian at all, except I hadn't told them yet. But wait, how old were you when that happened?
Oh, I'm guessing that was grade 7 or 8.
Oh, that's kind of cute. And what they say when you raise your hand?
I
Did you
don't
say,
remember,
actually,
but I was quite terrified because the only frame of reference I had for that, like Jews in a church where they're asking you who's not Christian, was
the Inquisition?
were all stories about the, you know,
that's
Talmud
it, yeah.
stories. When I was in Hebrew school, there were always stories they were reading us about having to stand up or refuse to bow down to something. So I was like, well, you're
Right.
supposed to not do it, but then it, you know, you get singled out. And then it's good times.
Aye.
Okay, so here's that's Ash Wednesday. The Pope. What's up with the Pope? And is this our
Oh.
Pope Bupkis, the old Pope?
This is Pope Mensch.
Okay, the new Pope.
This is the honorary Jew Pope. He is actually, he just gave a speech this week, or he gave an interview, and he actually said this week that he is considering being open. He's bi-curious, let's put it this way. The Pope came out as bi-curious about civil unions. Not kidding. Bi-curious. Civil unions. The Pope. See? And I know that's not a radical position, but it sure is when it's coming. You know when it is a radical position? When it comes from the Vatican.
When it comes from Pope Mensch. When it comes from the
Yeah.
man in the white dress with the A-line.
Yeah,
white
let's
dress.
see.
All right, well, that's pretty incredible news, Pope Mensch. Well, if he does anything about it, then we can actually be impressed. You know what that sounds like? He's the Obama Pope. Isn't that what Obama did when he...
You said that last time.
Well,
And I'm going to be honest with you. I made the same joke in stand-up about Obama coming out as bi-curious. So you're right. You're onto something, Heather.
He's backing it up. He's like, well, wasn't that step one was, well, I'm open to this potential thing. I'm going to learn. That was step one. Yeah, it's a matter of time.
And we were worried that it was just a phase, that he was just experimenting, but he actually came fully out in support of it.
We'll see what happens when all the gay people in the church actually can.
So he's not closing the door on it.
The door is open. There's a wedge.
The back door.
The Pope Bupkis wouldn't lift a finger. Pope Mensch, he's put his finger in the door crack. He's holding it there.
Yes.
Okay, so this week has been an interesting week for Jews. Michele Bachmann, you guys remember her?
The Congresswoman from the United States.
She's a pretty fundamentalist Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who's married to the guy who seems pretty gay.
Yeah.
And she's kind of amazing hair, like that never left.
She has amazing hair.
1973 or something.
And she has fake eyelashes all the time.
Really?
She wears fake eyelashes all the time, yeah.
So Michele Bachmann was talking to the Family Research Council, a conservative Christian group that they like to talk to when they're conservative Christians, and told them that she believed that Jews in America had abandoned Israel in backing Obama. So this is kind of astonishing that she's decided to chastise Jewish Americans as her way of, courting their vote? Like, she thinks that the way to get them to come and vote for her is by telling them they did something wrong?
No, she's genuinely concerned, I think, for Israel.
Oh, really?
Because of what she wants to have happen, yeah. She, it's interesting that she's lecturing Jews, because there's a little rule, there's an unspoken rule, which is that you can't lecture Jews unless you've learned how to pronounce the word chutzpah. And I don't know if you remember this, but she actually described, I think it was Obama, as having chutzpah. Do you remember this?
The president doesn't want to have to be confronted with priorities and spending because he has a lot of chutzpah.
It's pretty tough to lecture the people who pretty much pride themselves on lecturing. That by itself is pretty amazing, for starters. Second of all, I don't know if she's noticed that Jews have voted Democrat always, pretty much.
Yeah, she may have missed that memo that Jews are like 80 to 90% Democrat. And the ones who actually, and then she cites the ones who are against the sanctions in Iran. as an example as proof that the Jews are backing Obama over their own interests. She doesn't get that there are Jews who actually care about Israel, but think it's a better idea not to be as hawkish.
Or that maybe, how's about this, by her logic, that there's a lot of Jews who are focused on American issues first.
Right.
Crazy.
But
So
you know what's ironic is that
she wants American Jews to not care about America first. That's what she's saying.
You're right. That's interesting.
Very interesting.
Anti-American. Obama is pressuring Israel to give up its land to terrorists, which will lead to a final war, destroying and reducing to rubble Israel, which is a weird way to say it. It's kind of ESL-ish. Destroying and reducing to rubble Israel. You usually say destroying Israel and reducing it to rubble, or destroying, you know what I mean? But that's whatever. But then she said,
grammar is a liberal conspiracy, Katie. Come on.
You're right. It's true. I'm elitist. Then she says, that's in the natural. I just believe that as believers in Jesus Christ who see the authority of Scripture, I believe that the Lord and his strong right arm will have Israel's back and will be her protector. Remember in the Bible, the God is like, I have Israel's back with my strong right arm.
I got a big question. I've always wondered this. Maybe we should do a special just on Christians. We have a lot of topics we have questions about. I have never understood the word Scripture to be, it's always seemed like a Christian word to me. So any Jews who actually know anything about the religion, because some of you might, is it a phrase that Jews use? Like, do people refer to Torah as Scripture? I think it's Torah.
But I think they may refer to both the Old and New Testament as Scripture. I'm not sure. It is jaw-dropping. It is stunning. It's breathtaking.
I like that we're getting a new impersonation from you. Can I hear it? So what would Woody Allen say to Michele Bachmann about this? He feels offended because she's accusing him of not backing.
No, I like it when women like that talk to me like that. Are you kidding? It's sexy. I wish more attractive women would lecture me in that exact spot.
I don't know what Michele Bachmann would say about the Haredim.
The thing is that she basically, in order for the rapture to come, though, she wants us, like, the nations do have to attack Israel for the rapture to come. So we're doing her a favor.
She should be thanking us. Exactly.
Exactly. You're welcome, Michelle. You're welcome.
Honestly, I'm trying to imagine her living in Israel. Amazing. I don't think she could handle it. I think it would make her crazy. First of all, there's mostly less religious place, although our next story, segue, it's becoming more religious every day. Why? Israel is now about 10% ultra-orthodox. Not like average Orthodox, like super, I think Haredim means collectively, I hope I've got that word right, ultra-Orthodox. Anyway, there was a huge protest in Israel, like 40,000 people gathered, including women were asked to come, although they stood to the side because they're all sex segregated. They're not allowed to be near each other. Right. Unless they're
segregated.
Yeah, so basically, Israel is finally saying, okay, you guys have to serve in the military, no more deferrals. The majority of this community is on government assistance, and they study. It's a very religious community, and they study all day. Because
the Israeli government wants to draft them, because they are exempt from the draft.
Which is compulsory. Everybody in Israel at 18 serves for a certain period of time, except it's been the religious, which is very interesting because in the West Bank, which is occupied / settled by Israel, there are a lot of ultra-Orthodox living there. So it's very confusing because I learned today, I didn't even realize this. I have lots to learn.
Right. This isn't right.
But I did learn today that some of the ultra-Orthodox, if not most of them, are anti-Zionist.
The Hasids.
This is such a mentally confusing thing for me. So you have this group of people who are anti-Zionist. So on the one hand, aren't they like the super left? Like, where is the left-wing media this week been with this story covering this huge movement of anti-Zionists to not serve in the military? You would think that all the people who are angry about the Israeli military would be thrilled about this. I've heard nothing from them.
It's true. So my mom.
On the other hand,
my mom went to some event where she said she was shocked that there were these these Palestinians that walked in, and then these really Hasidic Jews that walked in with their babushka fur hats or whatever they're called, and they were like saying the same things. Strummel. They were saying the same things about Israel.
Well, they don't fly
but not all. But to be clear, not all the people who are Haredi who are against the draft are anti-Zionists. But some of them are, which makes it even more interesting.
It is, and some of them live in the territories, which is crazy.
Right.
Which is the really most meshugana, because if you live in the territories, you're all, I won't serve in the military that I need in order to live in my occupied land every day.
Right. Right.
which is like the
Aye.
ultimate, like, you need to do for me. I guess. I mean, it's weird. They want everyone to be religious. But if everyone were religious, there'd be no one to serving in the army
They'd be decimated.
So I'm
They'd
very
be
confused.
decimated.
It's confusing.
I don't know if they'd be decimated. They'd just be moved. They wouldn't live there.
It's Meshuggah. The whole thing
Right.
is Meshuggah. I don't know how much you know about. We know 3 things about Israel. I do know that the thing about everyone having to serve in the military. I do know also that a lot of the domestic laws in the country are run by Orthodox Jewish law.
That's the thing. What they should do is, here's the good compromise. Let them study the Torah, because I honestly wouldn't. If I were there, I wouldn't want people who are really studious to be running around with guns. They'd fall. They don't know how to carry it right. Let them study, but stop making Orthodox rabbis have any civil power, because they have to do the weddings. You can't even get married in a conservative synagogue. You can get married outside of Israel. You can go to Cyprus and get married there. You can go to Rome and get married by a nice Catholic priest, and then go back into Israel.
And
But
are you
can't
still
get
gonna
these.
are you still gonna support the government subsidized living payments to everybody who's studying and not in the workforce?
I mean, no, probably not. Get a job and study at the same time. Get a job, work in a library, work in a bookstore.
They want
You can read.
living a pure Jewish life, a pure religious life.
And they can find a utopia that exists outside of the capitalist world system.
I believe they're making a utopia.
Yeah, they are.
It's making a mess, but they had a peaceful demonstration, nothing violent. I don't
That's
even
good,
think they had
right.
a leader. It was like 40,000 people. Shonda of the week.
Shonda.
It comes to us courtesy of Katie's aunt this week, which is amazing.
Linda.
Send us your tips and your Shondas. And a Shonda, if you don't know, is like an embarrassment to the people. This week, it's, of all people, Alan Grayson. Katie, what's up? What does your aunt say? Tell us about your
Alan
aunt.
Grayson. My aunt Linda is a very big fan of the show, understandably. Lots of people are. And she is keeping track of Shondas.
All right.
And Shondai, I don't know what the plural is, but she wrote, she's also the woman who gave us the Johnny Weir tip.
She's doing good.
But
Before we get into the Shonda, I forgot to mention that tonight's
Today is this morning's.
Yeah.
This morning's.
Name That Jew is John Stewart Leibovitz, who's a
Nice.
supporter of my 2 middle name or 2 first name theory of the Billy Joel Lee. Last week was Leah Michelle. A John Stewart theory of where Jewish names come from.
I am John.
Elton John is just sort of, joined us. Not a Jew, but John Stewart Leibovitz, very proud about being a Jew. So points to him.
Yes. And my I can't believe they're not Jewish of the week is a man so seemingly Jewish. He has the word Jew in his name.
No.
And he directed Fiddler on the Roof. And yet he's not Jewish. And who am I talking about? Norman Jewison.
Norman Jewison.
Not a Jew.
But a Canadian.
But he wanted to be a Jew. He thought he was a Jew, and he used to wear yarmulke.
He's Canadian,
Precious.
and he's the founder
He's
of
from Toronto.
the Canadian Film Center. He has a beard. Yes. And he directed The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz. A very, very
movie.
Jewish, like maybe one of the most Jewish movies ever made.
And yeah, it's true. And Fiddler on the Roof. Come on.
Unbelievable.
So here's the tip from Aunt Linda.
Okay, Shonda.
Alan Grayson. Grayson, who's
explain who Alan Grayson is.
Okay, Alan Grayson. I was going to Alan Grayson, who's very usually liberal. He's a congressman from Florida. He's very good on lots of issues. Great on healthcare, and it's kind of heartbreaking to hear that a Florida
TV friendly. He does a lot of TV because he's very pithy and kind of witty about his put down.
Dramatic. Yeah. He did this thing in Congress showing how Republicans' idea for healthcare was basically letting people die. So a Florida judge has granted a temporary protective order to the wife of Alan Grayson after he allegedly shoved her during a weekend dispute. And her name is Lolita. I just want to put that in there.
The odds are, what do you think are the odds that she's Jewish? Well, she's married to him, so probably Jewishish enough. You think she grew up Jewish, Lolita?
I don't know.
It doesn't.
I don't know.
First of all,
John.
what kind of a curse is it to name your kid Lolita?
Oh my God, I know.
You're almost.
What if she ran off with an older man?
Poo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Seriously, I know you can almost see this coming. And then you've got Grayson, who's this big lefty.
Except on Israel,
He's what?
But he's in Florida.
He's on the right.
He's very hawkish. Very hawkish on Israel. He's a pet, progressive except on Palestine.
He's from Florida, so
Yeah, I know.
He's got the boobies and the Zadis. Those are his people, so they're hawkish on Israel.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and I don't know. I'm sad. What can you say?
I'm sad. I'm sad too. I don't want to think about it. Because domestic abuse is it's not like people conflate all these sexual scandals together. This isn't sexual, but I feel like they conflate all domestic relationship scandals together.
Right.
Which is really dangerous and stupid because there's actually a big difference between hitting your wife and having an affair. I know that you think I think cheating's bad too, but at least there's consent. Even you're violating the consent of the person who doesn't want you to do it, but you're not. I don't know. I think there's a difference.
Not with the wife, but there's only consent with the person you're cheating with.
Right.
It's lying by its name. It's
you're lying. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's in the middle of a divorce process, I guess, where they're having this fight. And the one thing we know is that while she was calling 911, he yelled at her that in front of the kids that he was going to ruin her or she was going to be left in the gutter.
She was going to get nothing, and she was going to be left in the gutter.
So that by itself is to me pretty sad. But I mean, fights are bad and divorce is terrible.
She also says that he had battered her and their minor children in the past too. But she never reported it, but lots of people don't report things. And his team, of course, is saying that it was Ms. Grayson who physically attacked the congressman.
And she said self-defense. Well, it's all alleged, except for the part we definitely know, which is him telling her she'll be in the gutter.
Right.
Nice. It's a class move.
Yes.
Oi, Shonda. And let's wrap it up with something fun. The Oscars. Although, come on. First of all, it's the second high holidays, the Oscars, which were given out. Not any really big surprises, almost no surprises, in fact, except I did notice this. So, people they like to think Jews run Hollywood. Oh, so powerful in Hollywood. But I'll tell you, it occurred to me when I was watching for Morning Jew that there are almost no Jews on the stage all night, in fact. And if you go through
it's called behind the scenes. We run things behind the scenes. We're the puppeteer, Heather, the master puppeteer.
If you go through the main categories, Best Actor, all of them, Best Actress, Best Supporting, only one nominee, Jonah Hill Feldstein. That was it.
Oh my God, wow.
The rest
He's
of them...
going to represent our thespians? He's the thespian?
And then of all the other major nominations, only Best Original Screenplay, Woody Allen, also Shonda. That's it! That is it. You have to go to
What
producers.
about directors?
When you go to... Not zero. When you go to Best Film, Picture of the Year, then there's lots of Jewish producers on lots of the the pictures. But I just want to say this kind of reflects the idea that if you think Jews are so powerful, then why can't you put someone Jewish on camera? It's harder. It's because there's a real self-censorship.
There's a huge difference between being behind the camera and in front of the camera. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Right, but what it means is even when you have control over the camera, you're putting not you in front of it.
To continue the stereotype where not only do we run the media, but we care about money. And so we care more about people seeing the movie than we care about getting our peeps on the screen.
It just made me think, not a lot has changed. Has the host of the Oscars, did Jon Stewart host the Oscars one year?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
So other than that, Billy Crystal, I think, is it. I don't think we've had another host. I think it's pretty much been Goyim hosting. I mean, I just want people to...
Oh, but this wasn't a significant thing. There's a documentary on a Holocaust survivor won...
It's true.
What?
A happy Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, a happy one. A happy Holocaust, happy musically inclined one.
Yep.
And is Spike Jonze, isn't he Jewish? Yeah, Spike Jonze is Jewish.
Spike Jonze is Jewish?
Oh my God, Heather, you don't know this?
Adam Spiegel. Holy crap.
All right.
Spike Jonze, I'm learning his real name is Adam Spiegel. Spiegel Catalog? I'm guessing.
Maybe, unclear. He doesn't really look Jewish. He kind of looks Jewish, though. It's interesting. He looks like I call this kind of Jew a dyed Jew. Like they look like they were born Jewish and swarthy, but then they were dunked in some dye that lightens their eyes and their skin tone and their hair.
It's a bit confusing because check it out. His father's name, Arthur H. Spiegel III. First of all, it's a Shonda to have
Yeah, the
junior
third.
or a
What's he
third.
doing?
That's like a WASP aspiration. It's bad luck. Okay, I may not know anything about the religion, but I know these weird kind of superstitions.
Right.
It's a superstition that if you name your kids after someone living, it's you're putting a curse on the person they're named after, and it could kill them. You're supposed to name your kids after people who've died.
Right.
So this family has like a third.
Maybe they'd all died.
I take it back. We had a Jew on stage who was amazing. We had two singers. We had Bette Midler and Idina Menzel.
She was on Idina Menzel, who Jonathan Travolta called.
With some really trying to keep up equality in the plastic surgery department. He's trying to make up for all the other men because there's almost no eyes left on John Travolta. It's somebody's really done a number. And then they try to cover it up with the wig.
Oh, it's terrible. So he called, he somehow, instead of calling Idina Menzel, he came out with Adele Dazeem, which is kind of interesting. That's what he said her name was. So
he was hired to say about 4 sentences. That was it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
And he mastered 3 of them. In all fairness. So good for the Jews. Let's wrap it up.
All right,
we
so we're
going
to go back. So first of all, the Pope is considering he's open.
Civil unions.
He's bi-curious around religion.
Both good for the Jews and bad for the Jews. Good for the Jews in that the gays and the Jews are in the same boat. We've already merged them. And bad for the Jews in that the Pope is going to win more points. He keeps winning points, and that makes
shows about to understand the logic behind why we've merged the Jews and the gays. Ash Wednesday, good or bad for the Jews?
Fine, we're neutral. We'll give it to you guys.
As long
have
as
it.
everybody
Enjoy.
gets to have their holidays, it's good for us because then we get to have ours. We got a lot of them.
Right.
Okay, Michele Bachmann deciding that Jews in America have turned their backs on destroying Israel for Obama. I think that's great.
Good. I like it. It's great. Yeah. Thank you for the compliment. If she had been proud of us for doing something, I would be concerned.
A huge protest by the Haredim in Israel to try to not keep their special, exemption from military service. It was peaceful.
That's good. Let us be peaceful. In Israel, something peaceful is good for the Jews.
They prayed.
In silence. We didn't even mention the kind of interesting, weird part, which was that it was silent.
It was mincha.
The silent prayer. I guess
it's a prayer that is a silent prayer.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. Is it good or bad for the Jews? I think. Look, I don't like that they're all in the military in the first place.
Right. Well, what would be good is that instead of using military force, if Israel resolved all of its conflicts by praying silently,
it would be.
It would be good for the Jews.
I'm going to say bad for the Jews, just because. Also, we forgot to mention this population is going to be up to 25% of the Israeli population before too long. So
they're very into procreating.
It could be the most strange way Israel could become un-Zionist. Who knows? It's very.
If the Zionist aspect of it,
Alan Grayson is a Shonda. The Shonda's
Shonda's always bad for the Jews by definition.
Oscars, this year's Oscars, with not a lot of Jews in there except a little bit of Best Picture producing action. What does that
mean? The puppeteering, the marionette. I think it's bad for the Jews. We're behind the scenes. We run everything.
I think
gives the wrong image. Slash the right image, the correct image.
More vulnerability. Well, here's the thing. There are 2 nominated pictures for Best Picture. American Hustle and Wolf of Wall Street, that are both based on the lead protagonist are Jews. They're people playing, not Gentiles playing Jews. So these
No, they're Gentiles. They're Gentiles playing Jews, right? I thought you said non-Gentiles.
But the sort of anti-hero villainized Jews. So,
but did you see American Hustle?
Yeah.
I would argue that he's so he's so hero.
I'm gonna award Christian Bale most convincing Gentile playing Jew.
Yes. He gets honorary. Not only Gentile, he's British. I mean, the whole thing, he became that character, though. Oi, was he good. He gets an oi. I'm going to give him, instead of stars, let's start a movie thing. We give him, they're 4 stars, right? So I'm going to give him 4 out of 4 ois.
3.5 ois. 3.5 ois, which is high praise for me. I like to hold it back a little bit. It's a Canadian me.
She's stingy with her ois.
Not stingy. I just like to have non-inflation, great inflation. America, everybody's a champion. And then you never know when anyone is a real champion. I'm trying to have it mean something. All right, listen. Listen.
Great show.
Of course.
Great show.
Let's be our own fans. Amazing.
Amazing. How amazing. I give us 4 oys. I give us 7 oys. And that's not even possible.
I hope it's a good week for the Jews and for everybody else out there. Send us your stories.
Yes, send them. Send us your bubby tips.
And your tips if you wanted to help support the show, which we could use. You'll
Yes.
feel if you want more light in our face, make a donation. We'll name the
If
light
you
after
want
you.
the graphics to be even better than psh, which is asking a lot, but we maybe could get there. All right. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jew.
Bye, Jew.